Good day and welcome again to another marriage and relationship hour. This program is brought to you by Love Bay um, Radio, your number one African, Caribbean, and diaspora online radio. And we are so happy to have you joining with us today. Um, I don't know where you're listening, but wherever you are listening to us, we ask that you call your significant other. We ask that you call your spouse, call a friend, call anyone and tell them to tune in because we have a lovely topic we want to deal with today. It's going to be interesting. Our host, Dr. Maria, will be joining me soon. And then we have our special guest who will be also joining me soon as we talk about living in harmony on a tight budget. We all know statistics says that there is about two things that destroys a marriage early on. The first one being sexual relations, sex, and the second one being money. And in all my years of counseling, um, I've found that this topic about money tend to be one of the most touchiest when I tend to do my counseling session. Because people, boy, you could touch them, you could touch their family, but don't touch their money. Touching their money, boy, is a serious thing. And yes, we are joined now by Dr. Maria McDonald. We are here out of Nassau, Bahamas. This is New Providence, Bahamas. And it's so nice to have you with us, Dr. McDonald. How are
I'm
you?
I'm doing great, thank you. And it's good to be back on the show after missing last week. Two
Yes,
weeks
we know
actually.
you had,
2 weeks.
yeah, we
Yeah.
know you had an engagement. Well, for both of them, you
Yes.
had an engagement. You had a speaking engagement for one. And then last
Yes.
week, you had to bury a very close friend. And
Yes.
pastor. Eh? So our sympathy and our condolences to you. But it's good to
Thank
have
you.
you back. It is good to have you back.
And it's
You
good
look
to be back.
you're looking refreshed.
Oh, I wish I could feel it.
Yes, but
I hope you will.
we're gonna be joined shortly by Mr. and Mrs. Sainville as we talk about this living in harmony on a tight budget. And I was just
Mm,
letting our listening audience know that boy, statistics says there are two things that destroys a marriage early on. First one
mhm.
being sex, and the second one being money. And I don't know, you could share some of your experience
Oh,
while we
yes.
wait for our
Yes,
guests
indeed.
to sign in.
Yes,
They were
indeed.
in earlier,
And you know
but
when?
their
Mhm.
internet was acting up, so they had to go and try and reboot. This them now. They're back in. But before we go to them, Dr. McDonald, um, give us a little insight on this topic, and then we'll go to the Sainvilles.
This is a topic that, for all marriages, I say should be addressed
Mm-hmm.
because you never see the real side of a person until but we can live in harmony even in a tight budget, Dr. Alvin. And that is why it is so important to know your partner, your spouse.
Mm-hmm.
Know what is their likes and their dislikes, what is their
Mm-hmm.
expectations prior to
Mm-hmm.
getting into marriage. Then you can work out the finances because you would have already set that in place. So
Mm-hmm.
you could imagine you have two, three kids to take care of, and the money is very, very tight, you know.
Yep, yep,
But
yep, yep.
that is the road that I also traveled early in my relationship. But what it takes is patience and it takes understanding because you're working, you're getting the money in, but the money are going to pay bills. And I know at one point when my children were finished with school, Dr. Alvin, I was the happiest person ever. Because, with me and 5 children and all 5 of them in private school, that was no fun. But we can
Oh,
make it
you have
work in a
five
relationship
children.
where the, oh, yes.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yes.
Okay.
One boy and four girls.
Oh, wow.
And
I know about
at
two
one,
of your girls. Yes.
yeah, no, five of them, and all of them were in private schools.
Oh,
And
Lord.
there were times we worked and the money was only for them, you know. We got the
Hmm.
scrapings of what left, but we made it work,
Hmm.
So
Yes.
there can always be harmony when the budget is tight or
Hmm.
the money is slow to come in. So I
Yeah.
am so excited to see what our guest is going to say to us, and to those that are listening in that are maybe going through what we have already passed through, or at least I can
Hmm.
say I have already passed
Yes.
through.
I'm going through it now. I am where you have been.
Okay, so this is a good
Yeah.
topic, and we will
Yes,
hear
it is.
from them as to how we can be in it and still be in harmony.
Yes, yes. Welcome, Seenvilles. How are you all today?
Welcome.
Hi,
We are
we
good.
good.
Good, good. We know that you all are no strangers to the relationship and marriage hour. So we say welcome home.
Welcome.
Thank you for having
Yeah,
us.
yes, but we are
Yes.
talking about living in harmony on a tight budget. There is so much that there is so much here, brother Sainville and sister Sainville, that we can unwrap. But we only have an hour, so we gonna focus, hone in on some certain areas, see how you guys are coping and how you are making it, and shed light on how you the Lord is leading you into areas and how it is working with you and your family. I want to say to the listening audience that what they see here in Mr. Sainville and Mrs. Sainville isn't a joke. I am an eyewitness to the fact of them making it work. I'm an eyewitness. I'm testifying for you guys now that them two are two persons who are in love with each other, and they are raising their children, and they are doing an excellent job in raising their children. That's why when Dr. Maria and I talked about this topic, I told her that I wanted to bring you guys back so that y'all can help, because then y'all will be talking to your generation, because we have persons in your generation, actually even in my generation, who is like, boy, children too expensive. We even ain't can have no children. We even ain't going down that road. Um, because then they
Mm,
focus on themselves, because children
Wow,
may
yeah.
be, I can't go shopping like I want to. I can't go traveling like I want to. But we want to see how you guys are making it, and how the masses now can glean from you, so they know too that, listen, marriage is good, and if you work it, you can even work through this tight budget. I'm going to start with you, Mr. Sainville. Yes, what's going on? Share something with us as it relates to tight budgeting, and then we're gonna throw it over to your wife, and then we'll talk about how y'all are making it.
okay, well, when it comes to money in the relationship, you got to remember that there's no, well, for us at least, other relationships might be different, but how we deal with it is there's no my money and there's no your money. It's our
Oh
money,
yeah,
and we
I tap right there. Yes.
and we basically pool our resources together for the betterment for the family, especially in this day and age where a tin of milk costs so much, and it's only going to get,
Mhm,
well, they're predicting it's only going to get more. Inflation is on the rise. You
mhm,
may need two sets of income just to keep the family afloat, just to keep the home afloat.
mhm,
We have three children, three freeloaders that we have to take care of, and we have to pull whatever we have together in order to get it going. And money could be a very frustrating thing, especially when it's running low, simply because um, with money comes a sort of advantage where you could do more. The more money you have, the more you can do. And when you get running low on that, tension starts to get high because you start to feel. I mean, for us men, you start to feel like you're letting the family down. And it could
Mhm.
be the same way for my wife, simply because she pulls in on the money, and because of that, we feel like we're failing. People feel like they're failing as the providers of the household. So with that comes feelings, and you could take it out on your partner. So you have to be aware when this feeling comes, and know that she or he is not the enemy. That is just a time. It's just
Mhm.
something that you have to deal with. Sometimes you'll have to sit down and see how best you could work with what you have. And there will be
Mhm.
budget
Mhm.
cuts. There will be a situation where you have to cut out the McDonald's, you have to cut out the steak, the salmon, and go with tuna, and go with corned beef and rice. You understand? But you have to make it work,
Mhm.
and you can't let it get in between you, God, and your wife, and or your husband. That's my little 2 cents.
Powerful boy. Me and you could talk. Right. It's a good thing I let you go first. Go on, Deandra. What you say?
Well, first I want to apologize for my voice. It's been going in and out, but I'll do my best. I think
Yes.
with Trent and I, we learned early on, even when we were dating, um, how we wanna handle things, how we wanna go about things as far as money concerned. So from we were dating, we started to certain things we prioritize. Okay, we can afford to do a date night, or no, we can't afford to do a date night. Okay, the Jeep went down, so we could spend the money on fixing the Jeep so we could have a ride to and from work. So early on in our relationship, we already had established like, okay, we know how to cut back, we know how to splurge a little bit. So when our first child came in, we wasn't living together. We still was living separate, but we still took care of him like we were together because he didn't lack anything. So because of what we already learned about one another, we know that okay, we need to buy milk and pampers. We need to do put this insurance and gas, so we know how to set aside things, and I think that helped us moving through our marriage and knowing how to communicate. Like him, when my money is running low, I get antsy because I feel I still have that in the part of me where I feel very independent. I want to contribute to our family. And when I can't, I get little antsy, little upset. I can't help in the way I
Mhm.
want to. And I think that's something a lot of me and still kind of dealing with me with. But I must say that it's gotten a lot better because now I communicate. It's like, okay, I can do this here. I can do this amount. Like I don't try to be like, oh well, I could pay the light bill and the rent and the water. No, I'd be like, okay, I can do groceries, I can do gas. Like I don't try overextend myself when I know I can do it. And I think that's a lot of growth for me on my part. But
Yes.
all of that came with time and learning myself, learning him, and learning what our marriage is about and what we want it to be about and what our focus is on it, and it's making sure that our family is taken care of.
Oh, that is powerful, powerful. So what you're saying is that the way then you can live in harmony on a tight budget is that you must have goals. You must have
Yes.
clear stated goals that both of you are on the same
Yes.
page and you are working towards.
Yes.
Explain, explain. Come on, let's go. Who wants to go first?
Well, you have to prioritize. Everybody has their wants. Everybody wants something in a relationship. And
Mm-hmm.
the issue is depending which one takes priority. And that's when there becomes a little friction. So you may think that this may be more important than what the other may think is more important. And that's when conversation needs to be had. From viewers on this show, you were saying communication is the key. And how you communicate
Yes.
that is very important. So you have to communicate it properly, and you have to communicate it in such a way for the other to feel like she's respected or he's respected, and and help them to understand why you kind of came from that particular position. So that's what me and my wife do a lot of, and we communicate and we say that this needs to be done, um, and the reason why is because of this, and this is why I feel this way, and we come to a consensus, and that's how we just been doing it. So whatever goals it isn't a I decide a goal. It's a we decide a goal, and we attack it, get it done, so that we can move on to the next one, because there's always a next one. So
Mm-hmm.
that's how you keep the frustration down, because by y'all working on one thing at a time rather than y'all working separate, and if something were to come about, it wouldn't be frustrating, because it isn't that y'all powers are split. It's y'all attacking the same thing together, and
Mm-hmm.
keep that frustration away, because you just don't need that. That's
Yes.
how we handle the situation.
Yes.
And you said something that is just so profound, that is something that must be handled together. Both of you
Correct.
mentioned
Yes.
that togetherness, and there is a biblical uh, 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 statement that says one can chase 1,000 and two can put 10,000 to flight. So we are better when we work in unison. Dr. Maria, you want to add?
Yes, I'm just listening and enjoying what I'm hearing because it's never easy when money is short. It's never easy when you only have at the end of the day you have like $10 left over, right? And then who gets this $10? But I like what you said. You pull together, you come together, you set your goals, and you prioritize. So imagine then if we have a family with one breadwinner in the family, I imagine it will be difficult, and we can see
Yes.
Yes.
frustration rising. How do you think they can manage now? We're talking about one salary coming in, and you got three and four children to support, light bill to pay, and in some instances maybe rent. How can we? How do you think we can help
Mhm.
them from what you would have been going through? How can you help them? To see that maybe this is the way you can do it, or you know, how would you deal with that? Because there's something called delayed gratification. You want that nice style that's coming out, that hairstyle. You want the nail, and you want the nice shoes, whatever. Delayed gratification. How would you deal with it? We have these children to take care of, lunch and everything for school, gas for the car for the week, and only one salary.
Mm-hmm.
How can we help that
That's a
family?
lot.
That's a lot. Yes.
That's a good question too, though, because early on in our marriage, like when we got married early on, I think we touched on it before, where Trent had um, resigned from his job, so it was only me that was working at the time, and I was working part time as well. So it still wasn't like a full week salary. It wasn't a full week salary. I was on like a 3 days, I think it was. So it wasn't like a lot of money coming in. And we had one child at the time. So
Hmm.
thank God we didn't have no rent. We were living with family. But with it coming in, and he was still young then, so he still had to deal with school fee at the time. So what we used to do was we sit down and we settle, like you say, like we prioritize, and
Hmm.
I didn't never let him feel like, oh, he's not working right now. He still had whatever says goes. He still was the head. I didn't never make him feel like, okay, I'm this my money and I saying this going this way. No, is what we decide on what we're gonna do. And our child at the time took president. He took the
The priority.
priority. Yeah. And then also we have a good foundation as far as family as well. We had a good support that we could have communicate. Look, this is what we need. Could you assist? And we had that even with the school, we could have gone in and say, can we split up the payments into two payments instead of the one whole lump sum? So we had to
Mm.
do a lot of humbling.
Mhm.
We had to do a lot of praying and asking God to put these people in this way and soften their heart. And then when my husband started to pick up, it's like we just kept flowing. It just kept flowing. It's like we never missed a beat. We never missed a beat. So we really thank God for those people that He put in place during that time. But it's also how you talk to one another. I never made him feel like he don't have no say in how this family runs and how what we do with the funds coming in. Um, and then just being open and honest about how he's feeling too. Like it's a lot. This is how I feel. I feel overwhelmed. Because if you don't communicate that, you could start to hold some resentment. Yes, I want my nails too. I not my hair
Yes.
doing a while. I need some pampering. I need some self care. I don't feel like a lady. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I express all these things to him. So once in a while, when we got the little extra overflow, then he'd be like, "Okay, babe, you could go get your hair do, or you could let's go for some Wendy's or some ice cream."
Wow.
When we had a little overflow.
Wow. This is so good. This is so beautiful. I love what you said. You didn't make him feel as though he was less than a man. And I
No,
think that is key in keeping a relationship solid in rough times. Even though he was not working, you kept things going and you worked together. I love that. And then you realized you couldn't do it by yourself. So then you had to involve family,
yes,
to help, as well
yes,
as other stakeholders, the teachers. And so these are things that can be done.
yes,
So it proves that if your salary is maybe a small amount and one person working, there can still be harmony in a relationship. There
yes.
can still be harmony in that relationship. And that is beautiful, because sometimes people are going through and they feel as though, I don't have this. Why am I married to this man? Or why am I married to this woman? She's no help to me. And the list is endless. But, you
Yes.
know, talk to us. Tell us, Doc, this is good because somebody needs to
So
hear.
this is very good. And they just point out something, Doc. They just point out something, and you just highlighted it. But I want to say it so that our audience can pick it up and run with it. That harmony should not be just because of the money.
The money.
Yeah,
No.
I think I think money just accentuates what is already there. So if there is a lack of harmony, you have more money, you will have more lack of harmony. But if you and
Yeah.
I are together with the little and we are helping each other with the little, when the much come, we'll help each other too.
yeah,
Yes.
yes,
Awesome.
So really, people who are struggling in their marriage and they say it's because of the money. I am thinking based on what y'all are telling me today, it may not be money. It
May
may be
not.
an
no,
underlying issue. Because
Yes.
listen to
Thank
what
you.
you said, Deandra. You did not use his inability to beat him over his head to say, see, you and the man, I'm the one who providing now. I'm the one in charge.
right,
You need to listen to me. And the woman then who
right,
does that, the woman then who does that, is she only keeping her mouth closed because he bringing in plenty money and she want that money?
Yes. Yes.
Maybe.
So
Yes.
then she covering it up.
Mm.
What y'all think? What y'all think? Talk to us.
Well, it could be that. It can be that. But the problem is, if or when hard times come, what will happen? You understand? Like anything is possible in this life. Anything is possible. You could be rich today and broke today. Just how fast things are moving. So you have to
Yeah.
have more just material to keep each other going. You see what I'm saying? So um it shouldn't your living in harmony shouldn't be based on something material. It's supposed to be based on what you have for each other, something that's not tangible, not something you could touch. The fact that I could trust her, the fact that she could trust me, the fact that I love, if I need to do something that has to be done, it will be done. And same thing for her. Knowing that you could put that much trust and faith into a person is worth way more than money. So budget really doesn't count. You understand? So that
Awesome.
if the person is with somebody because of their money, like people say they would base money based on their ability to provide for a family, but that's not always the case because he could provide. He might be a good fisherman, so he could provide for the family by going out there and fishing. That don't necessarily mean he has money. He might be a go-getter. He could bring home fish. He could bring home whatever the family needs. He don't necessarily have to bring home money. You see, but his task is to provide for his family, no matter what that takes. If he have to
Yeah.
build a house using his two hands, that in itself is a gem to have in a man. And then for a woman to be able to keep the household, to nurture the household, to nurture the family, that's a gem, not just the money aspect. Money helps now. If someone would give me $1 million, I take
Oh, praise the Lord.
it. But however,
Y'all want my bank
however,
account? Y'all want my bank account number?
your built-in your built-in ability to say that the family needs, and this what it needs from me. That's what you need to find in somebody, and that's what brings harmony because everyone is operating in that type of spirit. I think I'm saying too much, but go ahead.
You know,
Excellent. D'Angelo?
I want to ask a question. Sorry, go ahead, though. Finish your.
No, no, you go on. You go on.
Yes.
I want to ask a question because this is a man thing, right? Not
Mhm.
being able to provide for your family. Tell us how do you feel as a man? Because sometimes men, we women don't understand. But if a man cannot bring in the food and feed the children, what type of feeling are you feeling at the time? Not from this your perspective, but men in general.
Okay. Okay. So during the pandemic, when certain jobs was shut down, mine being included. Nobody, well, everyone kind of was shut down, but only
Yeah.
my wife was called necessity. They call it
Yeah.
necessity. So only she was bringing in the money, and me, I couldn't go out and work. So as a man, that could be, especially because you have some men out there. Because we're speaking in general, you have some men out there that kind of don't operate in that type of way. But we're not talking about those guys. We're talking about those men who want to provide for their family and feel
That's right.
like their task is to make sure the family is
Hmm.
provided for. It could be very, very depressing. Um, so for those men, I this is what I did. I did what I can as the provider or should be provider or as just a partner in the relationship. Don't even worry about the provider thing. Because sometimes in a relationship those roles
Hmm.
could change. So the children are home, the wife is working. So now I have to make sure that the house is clean. I have to make sure that the children are nurtured and all of that kind of thing. Now that's no attack on my masculinity, but I just know from point from anything from us being married that sometimes the roles will change, and we have to
Hmm.
be able, like you say, keep harmony. So to keep harmony, if the wife going out there and she had to go and go get the money, I want to make sure when she come home, it's a calm place. It's a place that she could unwind after being out there running and mask on all day. Because out there it's dangerous. You got to worry about bringing a pandemic home. That's a lot to deal with. So when she comes home, the house is clean. The children aren't rambunctious and all over the place. Everyone already calmed down and ate or however. And as a male, that could be a little attack on your masculinity because you feel some males feel that like this ain't my job. I'm not working in my purpose. And yes, I understand how that could make you feel because I've been there. But at the same time,
Right.
you feel manly that the house is in harmony because I don't care what anybody say. Every male want peace. So the fact that peace is kept in the house, we are happy. So if you
Yeah.
gotta talk to the children, tell them, listen, your mommy gonna be home in this time, get this clean up, get that clean up, and so on and so forth. You mightn't be able to bring home the money, but you could operate in another way, in another
Yeah.
aspect. So your job is
Well,
always there,
mhm.
you know. So keep your head up, man. Don't let that bother you. You haven't failed anybody. It's just something to say to them. You haven't failed
Yes.
anybody. Just know that you have to be men. You can't just sit there
Le-
and wallow. You have to get up and do what needs to be done. That's what being a man is. Doing what needs to be done. That's my 5 cents.
I love that. I love that. Because, men tend
Powerful.
to take on more. I love that, you
Mhm.
know. But there is no need for them to feel that they are less than because
Right.
things aren't going their way. Because seasons change.
Yes.
Seasons
Mhm.
change. So that's very powerful. But Doc, I believe one of the things that cause things to blow out of proportion is if he's already feeling that way and then the woman is acting out another way.
Oh
That can
boy.
be and that can cause relationship breakup.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it can. Yes, it can. Yeah. DeAndre, you want to talk to that?
I feel when it's something like that that come from trauma, that come
Yeah.
from either a family hurt or past relationship hurt, that have all of them with defenses up and fighting to get through. But I know we mentioned on this platform a few times that I have to look at him like he's not the enemy, and he should do the same to me, that I'm not the enemy. So
Awesome.
yes, we at this place in our relationship right now. How do we move forward? How do we get out of this? I like I said before, I like to tell him, okay, I'm feeling overwhelmed. So I expect him to
Mhm.
tell me, feel well, babe, I'm not feeling like a man, like I ain't providing, like I ain't doing what I'm supposed to do. And it's my job not to beat him down, but to say, no, you doing right what you need to be doing for right now. And when God opened that door, He's gonna open that door. But however you else, like you say, working in another capacity that helps to still keep the family together, to help still move the family, to help still grow and nurture the family. So I wasn't able to be home all day, every day, because I actually had to go into work. So yes, he made sure that they signed in to do schoolwork. He made sure that they did homework. That when I get home, I didn't have to worry about that. I just had to eat in bed and go sleep and repeat it all over again. So that was confident to me. That was peaceful. That I didn't have to also go to work and then come in. But that's because we communicated. He know how
Hmm.
I was feeling. He know why I might be feeling that way because of some family trauma or some past relationship trauma. And I could have trusted him with how I was feeling. And then he didn't make me feel bad. Because when you ain't acknowledging, you have someone who telling you something, but then you ain't acknowledging it or you ain't respecting it, and you just feel like, oh, I'm gonna just sit like this because I feel like this. Don't care how she feels, she can feel how she want feel, and then that's a lot where the friction starts, and ain't nobody healing, ain't nobody communicating, ain't nobody talking, and everybody just feel like, okay, this is a good time to bow out. We don't have to deal this. I don't have to take this. You don't have to take this. But that's where the enemy win, and we're not encouraging that.
No.
Wow. Powerful, powerful. Yes. And boy, so it all stems back. And you said something to Deandra that it could go back to past trauma,
Yes.
past relationship hurts. So we carry that baggage into your marriage, and then when you see your husband or your spouse behaving as the one who hurt you, when you see them, their actions are those similar to the one that hurt you, then you start to say, okay, your
Yep.
red flag go up, and now
Yeah.
Mhm.
you you
Running.
now
Run.
turn you you turn a little breeze into a hurricane, uh, um,
Yeah.
because you
Yes.
haven't been totally healed. And that then goes back to what I the question I asked a bit earlier is, so was the money the one that took away the harmony? Because really, then the harmony wasn't really there to begin with.
There to begin with.
So all the lack of money
Mm.
or the abundance of the money did was reveal
Real
what
what
was
was
really there.
Yeah.
With
yeah,
would have been nothing.
Yeah. You could say that. Yes.
Yes.
yeah.
Okay.
It revealed the
Okay.
bitterness.
So therefore, when when you see put people and I can start using this in my counseling sessions now, because now I am even
Mhm.
learning as we are talking, guys. I am learning as we are talking that, boy, let's get to the root of the problem. Cause too, if I
Yes.
trust you, I trust you.
Yep.
If I trust you, and
Yes.
that's powerful. If I trust you, I trust you. I trust you when we have money. I trust you when we don't have money.
Hmm.
Right.
And therefore, if our goal take well, you guys should know that my wife and I, my family, we are remodeling our house now, and and
Right.
um and our bank account, um well, we might as well just close them all because of the little bit of money that's on them. It, it don't make sense to keep them open if you ask me, right? But even through this, Tanya and I, as we sit down and talk, we still saying this is our goal. How do we accomplish it? How do we make this work?
Yep.
And there is no you say, I say, because our mindset too is still, there is no your money, my money, is our money. And how do we use our money to do what we
Right.
want to do, that we can live in harmony and in peace,
Yes.
in our house with our children? So, boy, so what the lack of the money has shown me, even in my relationship with Tanya, is me and this girl together.
Hmm. Very good. Because
Yeah.
it will
So
reveal.
if I could spend with the 50 cent, I know I could trust her with the 50 million.
Hmm.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
So
Yep.
then we then need to encourage those listening to us that, and this all goes back to the last time, not the last time, one of the times I had you two on Sceneville, and we talked about how there's no such thing as this 50-50 kind of thing. It is 100. You must bring your 100%.
That's right.
Mhm.
Yes.
Mhm.
And then your partner must bring 100%. And when you
Hmm.
add your 100 to my 100, the marriage is 100%. And we
Yeah.
always
Yes.
say, like Dr. Miles Monroe said, that marriage is a perfect union, is a
Mhm.
perfect entity entered into by two imperfect beings.
Perfect, perfect beings. Yes. Yep.
So if you bring your 100, I bring my 100, 50 cents, 100 is $50. Now we have $50.50. Let's conquer the world.
Yes,
Oh,
Lord.
yeah.
Yes.
So somebody asked me years ago, Doc. Somebody asked me years ago, Alvin, how would you feel if your wife make more money than you? I say, I'll be happy. That's more
Yes.
money in the city.
In the house, that's all.
Oh, yes. By all means, you know. I,
Yeah.
I, I thought women making more money would have caused problems too in the marriage. But if he's mature, he will understand, and we live
That's a
together
talk on
Mhm.
because
crap.
everything is
Yeah.
right. It's
Yeah.
coming in the house. So
Right.
that's a good thing,
Mhm.
you know.
Mhm.
So, Doc,
Kenji was saying something.
No, I was telling her that's just his pride. That's all. Um,
exactly.
because just like with
Mhm.
Dr. Marie said that you don't look at it as she's making more. You just look at it as the house has more money. So the house have more power
Mhm.
to do what it needs to do. You see,
Right. Right.
you got to look at it from a different perspective, not from a prideful one.
Mhm. Powerful.
Yes. So now I love saving. Boy, listen. Tell us
Mhm.
how the saving part. Like Doc is saying that he probably depleted his accounts. I always feel that in a relationship, once we plan for it, we can have a wealth fund. I call it a wealth fund because you put
Mhm.
money into that account that you don't touch.
Yes,
I started it several times, but I always kept going back. I failed.
Mhm.
How can
I
you
get
help
there.
somebody
I still
Still there.
there.
to keep? I am not qualified to talk on it, but I believe you may be qualified or Doc may be qualified. We have that account, that one account you don't touch. How can we make this thing work with that one account? And you just keep it, even in the hard times, you keep that account going.
Okay. So all us seem to be
I
in the
was
same boat when it
qualified one
comes to
time ago.
that.
I
um,
know if I qualified now.
I'm telling you.
me, me and the wife like to work with percentages. So whatever, because we are entrepreneurs, we don't have a fixed income into the house. So we like to work with a percentage. So we would say if this much coming in, 50% will go this way, 20% will go that way. And we'll say, let's just put numbers there. If 50% go one way and 20% go one way, 30% is left to go on the house. All right, that's how we usually try to handle it. And the problem is, what about if the house requires more than the 30% that's allocated for it? And for some odd reason, every month the house has been requiring more than the 30%. So
Sound like you ain't qualified either.
I'm not qualified to deal with it because um, the house is important. We have like we would be like, can we go without for a month for this month or anything like that?
Yeah.
And it'll come to be that we can't. However, the little that we do save, we find that it's been a lifesaver. So save something. I
I like
believe that if you could communicate to someone, or if you communicate to your spouse that, hey, I can't this month simply because of this, and this is like I say where communication and prioritizing comes in. That should be a no brainer for both parties.
yeah,
But I do believe you should save something for situations such as what's going to happen or what might happen that month.
yeah.
We just started a thing called a no big expenditure month, and that was supposed to be this month,
Yeah, that
but
didn't work.
that didn't work
That
because
didn't
the
work.
house required more than
Yes.
anything. But because we had
The money. Yeah.
savings or something like that in play, we was able to cover the expenses for this house, and that in itself takes away frustration in the relationship. So yes, I do believe a rainy day savings should be um, put in place. We had a financial advisor we used to talk to, and he said that's very important because it increases stress when you don't have it.
That's
You
right.
understand? Because some things are going to come up that requires money, and when you don't have it, that increases stress because you
Hmm.
start to wonder what you're gonna do now, how we're gonna get over this. And so I do believe you should put something aside, um, and pray to God that the something you put aside doesn't surpass what may come. But even if that does happen, you should be able to look at your partner and say, well, baby, we can deal with this the best way we can. Because every time my wife asks me what we're going to do, how we're going to deal with this, my answer to her would be the best way we can.
Mhm.
And so that's how we work it out. And we ain't afraid to tell people that, hey, we don't have it. What do we need to do to get past this, or can you give us more time? Like a lot of people work on pride where they don't want to go to anybody for help and they get frustrated. and they start to blame the other person and all that kind of thing. But we in this together. There's no blame. When I made this decision, we made this decision. So we have to find our way out of it. So if you go with that, you'll keep harmony because there's nobody to blame but ourselves. So we have to deal with it rather than, oh, you made a bad decision, so this is your fault and you need to deal with it because
Fix
that
it.
had nothing to do with me. And and that causes a lot of tension in the relationship. And you tend to start thinking somebody is bigger than the other person. And then you have a
Mhm.
division. And then the division, then we have a whole nother problem. And then you have a divorce in hand and all that kind of thing. So everything has to
Mm,
be French, which is we. Everything is
We.
we, we.
Yeah.
So that's how we look at it.
But Dr. Marie, what I do, we have an account, what I say, call it the put in and forget it. So once I don't know it there, it tends to um
It's safe.
it tends to grow, and you have it there.
Yeah.
So sometimes like when we run short or we run low and we buy, oh, and then I'd be like, oh, we can move it from this account because
Yeah.
we have some little extra there that I didn't remember because I don't count it as no money no more. Like I don't have
Right.
access to it. I don't think about it. I put it in there. I forget it. And when we need it, then God be like, hey, you have some extra funds you could move from that account
Mm-hmm.
and put
Right.
it with what
mhm,
you need to get this done or this paid for. So yeah,
Hmm.
that's how I work it. I just forget it. I only have this to work with. So when I know I
Right.
have this $100 to work with, that's it. I working with that $100.
Right.
Yeah.
I
Finish.
wonder. I wonder if by chance, if we can. You was going to say something just now. You
No,
was
he
going to
was
say
saying
something.
discipline. Discipline is
Discipline.
it?
I agree. I agree, because we should begin to treat that as though it's not yours,
Mm-hmm.
and
Yeah.
even though because if you take, and I'm speaking to me too. I speaking to me first, not you, right? But if we take, if it's only $10, I often tell the kids when I'm talking to them, because if they start saving now while they are in school, ten
Mm-hmm.
dollars a week, by the time they finish school, they have should have plenty of money. So
Plenty
if
money.
Yeah.
we take out of our income maybe $25, and not much, take
Mm-hmm.
that and put it where it's supposed to go, in a wealth account. And when we run into difficulty, we don't have no money because that is not ours. That's the
Yes.
Right.
wealth account.
Yes.
We want to grow that wealth account. And
Yes.
if we can get to that point, and that's why we can have two accounts: a wealth account and an account for save emergency. I
Mm-hmm.
believe in having something like that: a wealth account and an emergency account. So when we put in that wealth, it ain't coming back out.
Right.
But when we put in the other account, then we can expect to pull out when we need emergency, right? So I believe
Right.
that is one way we can help keep harmony in our relationship, because even though in the back of our mind we ain't got nothing, we know we got something else.
We get
We can
something.
turn
Yeah.
to, you know, because
Good idea.
if there's absolutely nothing, doc, all the beast is going to come out in some people. Now, you guys are able
mhm,
to, you're able to keep it good, right? But in
mm,
reality, there are some people can't are not as disciplined as you are,
Right.
and it gets hard, you know. But we, and that's me, we should have our wealth account. I've given people advice on how to keep their wealth account and an emergency account, as well as how to pay off their mortgages in advance.
Mm-hmm.
And I can tell you, these persons came back and said, "Oh," and they were excited. I was able to pay off my mortgage. I don't have no more mortgage. The other one, she
Right.
took her money, they invest, and they doing good. And I said, "Boy, you a bad student for yourself," because I would give them, but I don't follow, you know. So
Yes.
for the relationship, it's good if we can work it together. Keep that
Yeah.
wealth account going, doc. You got to keep that wealth account. So when our other accounts are gone, we still got
Got
money.
something to fall on.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
See, and you all said something though that is very meaningful. Um, that be a storing up for a rainy day. And then I thought about that, and I said, what intensity of this rain are we storing up for? Because too, when hard times hit us, we still don't touch the rainy day account because we say we can make it through
Make it
this
without.
Yeah,
today
yeah,
and then enough. So this ain't that rainy day. So we
yeah.
all storing up for that rainy day, and the
But it
rainy day
never
they
comes.
come but 50 times and gone, but we still storing up. That being said, see, we must teach our people that money is a tool. That's all money is.
Yeah.
Money is a tool to be used wisely. And if
Wisely.
you use it wisely, it will benefit you. So
Right.
we have persons who have stored up, Dr. Maria, for a rainy day, and their house leaking. They need to go have emergency surgery, but they say they ain't got no money.
But
That's what the emergency account for, Doc.
that's what
Tell them go in that
And that's
emergency
what
account.
that is what I'm saying. But for some people, that emergency ain't
we're
emergency.
Not enough.
That's tough. That's
Yeah.
tough.
And though I have seen people who have money on fixed account and they come ask me to borrow money
what?
No, no.
Well, is it that they just fall in love with seeing that much money on their account rather than using it?
Could
because
very
they
well
see
be.
money as something they need to gather,
Mm-hmm.
and they don't see it as a tool
Right.
to be
Right.
used.
Yes.
And that too can be a problem.
Hmm.
Right.
um you need to know, and I like the balance that you all have, and this is something that Tanya and I had to discuss because I was like, Tanya, we ain't touching that money. I would go on my bank account every day just to look.
Just look at it.
now now I scared to go look at my bank. I scared to
But
go
see,
look at my bank account.
you kept it for the right time, Doc. You kept it for the right time.
I,
That's the
and that's
difference.
my point. But see, and two,
Yeah.
once this project is over, is
Then
back
you
into
start again.
gathering.
Yeah.
Is back into
Yes.
Yes.
gathering. And people may say, well, you squander your money. No, the value of our house
No.
is going to increase, and we're going to leave a legacy for our children to
Sure.
have.
This is
Right.
true.
So see, you have to look at it from a broader standpoint than just, oh, you wasting money. But it's not being wasted, it's being used for the
Right.
betterment of the family.
There you go.
Yes.
There you go.
And once that's the case, why not talk? I told Tanya the other day, I say, Tanya, listen, we are not going to be the, oh Lord, excuse my words, eh? Sorry, guys. We are not going to be the fools who store up all of our money and never enjoy anything.
Mm-hmm.
And then
No,
we
then
die. And would it take us 30 years to store up our children's squander in 3 weeks?
Yes. Yep.
that's why the pastor say enjoy life, spend what you have, and whatever left, if anything leaves, they can have it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have to do it.
So what we want to do though, what we want to I said to Tanya, I said, Tanya, we want to leave our children better than our parents left us, in the sense that one of our major uh, uh, um thing that took money from us, Doc, and Saintville's, was the fact that we didn't own property and own a house. We had to purchase those things.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
And our major bill now is mortgage, paying back to the bank what we borrowed to get the house. I say,
Yes.
Tanya, at minimum, if we could pay off the mortgage and at least leave our children that, they have a head start,
Start.
more of a
Yes.
head start than we had. So once,
Yes.
and that's why we are doing this, because I said, listen, when I hit 60 and 70, God spares my life. I don't want to be. We going to go travel. We going France. We go.
Yes.
We going to go sit under one coconut tree with our virgin pina colada. We going to go live life.
Yes.
Exactly.
So
You
let's
know,
do it now while we still got a little strength.
that's
Yes.
right. You know, Doc, you said something just now that you did mortgage, right? Let me give Lord, we are not the experts. We have a program that comes on that really deals with the um, finances and so forth. So we're not the expert. We're only talking from the experience. But Doc, there was this gentleman. He was getting married. This was his second marriage. He had a house, but he, sold the house and he starved the money. So he wanted then to purchase another home. I could vividly remember telling him, I said, okay, here's what you should do. You have that money in the bank, put that money there and let it build for you. Borrow the bank money and finish that house for yourself.
Right.
He said, oh, no, I want to pay off the mortgage. Now,
That's it.
he didn't pay the full amount to pay it, so he didn't have a mortgage. He paid part of it. So what happened to him? When difficult times came, he didn't have the money to pay to with his mortgage. He didn't have no spare money. He had to every day find that mortgage money. So for a person,
Wow.
if you have a large set of money, my advice to them would be let that money stay right there on fixed.
Pay
Use
off.
that as your collateral. So by the time you finish paying off the house, you got plenty money left
Mhm.
because you would have saved what you have.
Yeah.
Okay.
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 I agree with you
I
a
get it.
100%. I
Yeah,
endorse that 100%.
yeah. So we and this is what keep beautiful relationships because we are now doing things where we in agreement. I made that mistake in our first early years of marriage. My husband had the bill and we had the money. And I said, boy, look, you take the money, go pay that bill off. And I'm sorry I did that because we still have that savings, mind you, but
Hmm.
we that much less. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Right.
So
That chunk you take out.
if you can keep that bill, paying that bill, then pay that bill off and keep your money, your cold cash. I mean, times are changing now. It's going to soon be cryptocurrency and all of that. But let's be wise in what we good stewards of our money to keep a harmony in our relationship. And Doc,
Yes.
we are running out of time. We have 2 minutes. So
Yes.
we only have 2 minutes left on our
So
program.
so we can give the Saintville's 1 minute to say something. 30 seconds each.
Go
Go
ahead.
for it.
Okay.
Harmony on a tight budget.
I would like to just say to communicate, to be open about how you feel about what you're going through. If the budget tight, I know that it won't always be tight. Because
Yes.
even if your money don't increase, your relationship, your foundation, it grows, it gets stronger, and you start to look at things differently. So you don't even be worrying about a tight budget. You get all the riches you need right there. You get love, you get joy, you get happiness, you get health, you have family, and that's where I think where your riches should really lie, not in money.
Trent,
And
what you can do with this woman? This woman of wisdom. What you can do?
the best I can. Just
Go
to
on, my
add,
brother.
just a little bit there and prioritize. You
Yes.
have to know
Yes.
what is more important than the next thing to go spending the money on. Because yes, you could live in harmony on a tight budget, but it's always good to have a bigger budget because how you manage your money will determine how the budget run. So prioritize and y'all will figure it out. You know
Yes.
that it's not your money, it's our money, and y'all pulling it together for the better.
And my closing remarks, Doc. First of all, those of you who were watching or listening to us, you were listening to the Relationship Marriage Hour. Yes, and you can join in the conversation by calling us. You can call us at the number that is scrolling underneath the screen. Um, and just be a part of our conversation as we continue. But Trent, you said something that I think is just so important. Um, that it'll work basically if you work it. If you, and that's me putting it in my own words, set your goal, set your goal,
Yes.
and work at it.
Yeah.
And as you work at it, it'll work. And this
Yes.
is what you said, that I think is full of wisdom. Don't see your partner as the enemy. Y'all are working for the same. Y'all are on the same
Yes.
team, working for the same goal. And if you see yourself in that light, it doesn't care if there is $1 million on the account or $1 in the account. You will work it for the betterment of the marriage. Doc, I love
And
it.
thank
Yes.
you. Thank you. Thank you. This program is actually brought to you by Love Bay Radio, the number one diaspora in the Canada area. So we are so happy that you would have joined us for this afternoon. And I want you to tune in again next week when we will have a very provocative topic to cover on the relationship in marriage hour. So a pleasant evening to each and every one of you. And thank you so much, our guest. You've been wonderful. You've shared a lot. And we
Thank
thank you
you.
so
Thank you
much.
for having us.
Thank you.
No
Doc,
problem.
thank you.
No problem. Thank you, Doc. We're out.